Thank you for joining me. All right, let me get into some highlights of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The topic we are supposed to be discussing today. It's on its visibility. Okay, the African Continental Free Trade Area was established in 2018 with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and making the largest free trade area in terms of number of states and in terms of population. That's just behind the World Trade Organization, with a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion. That is fifth place behind Germany, which is currently the fifth largest economy in the world. According to the World Bank, I just want to talk about some highlights. The AFTA is going to present a lot of opportunities for the African continent, the African people. And one is going to be, it's going to help uplift about 30 million people out of extreme poverty and 68 million others to raise their income for those who live above below $5 per day. It's going to present numerous employment opportunities, and it's going to cut trade barriers to a lot of African states. So I want to start with you, Luke from Nigeria. With all these terms that AFTA envisions, I just want to know what opportunities specifically does the African Continental Free Trade Area present for states and for individuals? Because for long, I used to follow this. The African Union operates more like a political bloc instead of an economic bloc. Okay, so I'm trying to get how can AFTA benefit states individually and citizens in those states individually? Look, over to you.
All right, so I feel AFTA can benefit African nations from the context of comparative advantage. What a country has, another country may not necessarily have in terms of natural resources and other types of resources, And so if we have a system whereby it is very easy for each African nation to transact business, transact human and other forms of resources, then that would ultimately lead into an overall economic output for everyone involved. There's no reason why in Tanzania shouldn't come to Nigeria and transact their business with ease. But you and I know that it is not easy, given the current climate we have in Africa. You and I know that. I could give a couple of examples now. So in Ghana, for some years now, Nigerian traders in Ghana, they have been complaining because, according to them, there are some policies the Ghanaian government came up with that, under the guise of, okay, we want to protect our people, we want to protect our economy, under that guise, they've said those policies specifically are targeting them. So one of the policies they have in Ghana now is that for any foreigner come and invest in a country, you must come with a minimum of $1 million. So now tell me, how many Africans can come up with $1 million to establish business in another country? You understand? So when we have policies like this involved, it is going to be difficult for African nations to transact business and services. And so what AFTA hopes to do is to eliminate all these barriers and make it easy for trade to be transacted across all African countries. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your insight. Zonda, Senior, I want to get over to you. What opportunities do you think AFTA presents to states and individuals as a whole?
Yeah, like my brother from Nigeria, like Luke was saying, it's about coming together and making things easy for everybody to be able to move things around, for transactions to run. Africa can only see emergence or see growth or see economic prosperity with that togetherness, with that ease of doing business, like me living from Cameroon to Nigeria, from Nigeria to Ghana, from Ghana, anywhere around Africa. I'm supposed to feel that privilege because I'm African. I'm supposed to be able to go around Africa just the way I want and then do business how I please, But like Luke was saying, it's not easy. And there's a reason why it's not easy. Africa was colonized by these white people, French, British, and all of that. They're doing everything possible every single day. Right now, they're doing more in a more subtle and political way for us not to ever get to that point where we'll get together, then be on our own. Like recently, the French president was in Cameroon. He went from Cameroon to, I think, Benin, then Guinea-Bissau, all for French interest. You know, these are things that are taking Africa apart. This is new colonization that is happening under our own eyes. You know, they come, they do some policy signing and all of that. They do treaties and all of these things keep each African country individual. So it makes it such that if maybe another country from Africa comes for partnership and all of that, it's not going to be the same. So it's like we're giving privilege to other people to come and benefit from the things that our brothers or our neighbors cannot benefit from us. They are paying a very high price to be able to benefit from that. And I feel like we need to sit up. We are doing talks like these and making people to understand that this thing is for real, and then we need to start taking action about it. You know, technology-wise, economic-wise, and then any way possible for us to be able to come together and start doing trade and start transacting. I mean, it's really going to benefit Africa, because I see it for Africans by Africans. Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for that. I want to move to the next question here. This has to do with barriers. This has to do with barriers to AFTA. You know, with all these opportunities that AFTA presents to us, there are a lot of barriers that we are going to face. There are a lot of shortcomings that the African continent faces. And one of them, as you just mentioned, Zonda, is the interest of foreign countries in Africa. The need to separate power in Africa so they can keep their influence. So I want to go back to you, Zonda. What do you think? How do we confirm? How do we counteract these various barriers to the implementation of AFTA?
I think it's not something that we need to fight somebody. It's not something that we need to shout it out, or maybe use trumpet to be able to shout to people and all that. I think it goes right back to education. What kind of education are the people receiving? What kind of conscientism are people receiving? I think it starts from there. We start educating people bit by bit. We need to use technology a lot to be able to combat this. It has to be something like a subtle war. It doesn't have to become. It doesn't have to be something that it's obvious that this is what we are doing exactly. You know, like in the agricultural sector. You know, this thing about Russia and Ukraine. I mean, the Senegalese president Macky Sall actually went to Russia and was begging for them to give him cereal or flour and all of that. Same for Egyptian president. I was so shocked. Like we are living in the most arable land in the world, and we don't have flour to be able to produce bread. Man, that is crazy. You know, we have to start from there. Go back to the farm. Go back to maybe to the drawing board, to schools, and I don't know, wherever it's possible, we need to start doing the education from there. People, you and young Africans need to upgrade their skills. You know, the internet has come today, and it has made the world a global village. It's not more like maybe 15, 20 years ago where an American kid can have an access to information that you in Africa cannot have. But with internet, you guys can be accessing the same information at the same time. You know, the internet is so amazing. So young people that are growing up from let's say 17 up to like 35, 40 and all of that need to look at these things differently. Like, okay, there's a problem of trade, there's a problem of economic prosperity. What am I doing in order to make my own small contribution about it? I think that's where it boils down to. It's not about maybe even big organizations and all of these things that we hear every day. It's about taking real simple steps, like little steps every day. So it goes back to the individual. What is my responsibility? How can I make my family better so that Africa can benefit from it? I think that's where it starts.
I want to thank you for that. Look, over to you. I just want to find out, how do you think we can overcome these barriers to the implementation of AFTA?
All right, so maybe I should highlight some of the barriers that I feel could counter react to the achievement of AFTA. Number one, I think, is the problem of xenophobia and tribalism. I think as Africans themselves, Africans tend to degenerate into xenophobia and tribalism. My country, Nigeria, is currently suffering that. Northern Nigeria and Southern Nigeria, we kind of hold each other in suspicion. The Northerner is suspicious of the Southerner. And so if, crisis happens, if a Southerner lives in the North, their businesses and their livelihood could be attacked in the moment of crisis. And so even if amongst ourselves, we don't trust ourselves, if we don't trust ourselves, how much more do you think we want to trust, let's say, Ghanaian, let's say Cameroonian, let's say South African? And so xenophobia, tribalism is a huge, in my own opinion, a barrier to achieving AFTA. You understand? So I think as African countries, we need to learn how to live cohesively. We've got to be able to come together. That's just now. Let me go back in time. So before the advent of colonialism or slavery or what have you, Africans actually used to trade with ourselves. We used to trade ourselves. We developed trading routes across the entire continent. We have people from Southern Africa trading with people from Northern Africa, people from Eastern Africa, and trading with people from Southern. We had this thing established. But of course, slavery came, colonialism came, and that's unsettled the whole thing. And so, but one unique thing about that time was that Africans were living in tribes. We lived in tribes. I'm a Yoruba person. Even in ancient Yoruba land, we didn't live as an entire collective, like this is a Yoruba nation. No, Yoruba people lived in tribes. But even though we lived in tribes, we learned to transact business with one another. But when the British came, when the French came, when the Portuguese came, and everybody came, they forced all of us together under a single colony. And ever since, we've not learned to trust one another. We've not learned to live in peace and unity. So I feel for AFTA to be achieved, we've got to learn how to live with one another, despite our cultural differences, despite our religious differences. If we can't achieve that, AFTA won't just work. It's not going to work. Now, another problem, another barrier to AFTA is corruption and bad policies. But these are extremely big problems, extremely big problems. I gave an example of one of Ghana the other time. Now, about 2-3 years ago, there was Bangladeshi, if I'm not wrong, there was a Bangladeshi investor that came to Nigeria, invested in all these ride-hailing services. And his business boomed within the space of 2-3 years. It was extremely successful. But guess what happened? The Lagos State, now the business primarily started in Lagos State in Nigeria. So the Lagos State government, for some reason, came up with a policy, and that policy brought that business to ruin. It's ruined that business. I'm talking about multi-billion-dollar investment. And so if you live in a climate whereby the government can wake up one day, come up with a policy, and that policy is going to ruin businesses, which investor wants to take that risk? Who wants to take that risk? And so if African leaders cannot come up with good policies, AFTA won't just work. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. And so these are some of the problems I feel some of the barriers I feel are going to counter-react to the achievement of AFTA goals. And we've got to be able to tackle these problems head-on with sound leadership and sound policies. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much for your point. Let's move to this next issue, and it's very tactical to my point of view. If you have to look at the African Union, and even AFTA itself, okay, AFTA it's been run like based on government policies alone. They are not putting the implementation of AFTA into the hands of African citizens. I think that is a limitation too. And if you have to look at the African Union itself, it runs as a political organization, and instead of an economic bloc, that is a huge hindrance to the implementation of AFTA. So, in terms of political economy, do you think that if AFTA is successfully implemented, the implementation of AFTA is going to change some governance systems in Africa? Is it going to bring about the dream of an African unity, a United States of Africa or something? Do you think that is possible under AFTA? I want to go back to you, Zonda.
Yeah, realistically, yeah, to really be honest, achieving AFTA is really like a steep mountain to climb. Like if I like looking at just thinking about the thing, I see so many roadblocks. You know, and going back, the African Union building was built by Chinese. That's a very big problem. You see, and why should some other country come and build a place where people come together? It's like somebody comes to your house and build the temple where you have all your sacred meetings for you. I mean, the Chinese people are always there. Maybe I don't know. Spirit or what? It's more political than economic. I don't really see them driving. Like it's not really inspiring. Like you don't feel like the African Union is really carrying out projects to elevate poverty, to push agendas for economic prosperity and all of that. Like they just keep spinning things around. You know, they just keep spinning things around, and it's causing a lot of other problems. Like it has a ripple effect, you know, on other countries and all of that. So I feel like we're still very, very far from the reality where an African can live and go around different countries and easily exercise business and all of that. Because like Luke was saying, there's a big problem. Like there are fundamental problems. There's tribalism, there's hate, even us Cameroonians, like Anglophone and Francophone, and these guys from this tribe, this one is from. So personally, before talking about AFTA, like I feel like all of us need to go back to ourselves. Like there's this Ghanaian philosophy of Sankofa, go back and fetch it. We need to go back. We're taking too many steps ahead, and now things have become so steep that due to the way we were built, we cannot solve the problems that were created for ourselves. So we need to go back in time. You know, like going back to history before colonization, the scramble of Africa and all that. How were we functioning? What was happening in Africa? You know, this is a very serious problem. And a lot of people take it lightly. They take it lightly because of westernization. You know, the West has really just brainwashed us in a subtle way that we tend to forget about the most critical things that we need to be thinking and try to solve for ourselves. You know, when I think about it, it's painful, it's frustrating, because it is something that every African wishes to see, that trading, like exercising what you feel, and you see Africa growing. You know, I know somewhere around there's some sort of positivity, you know, but there's a lot of negativity and there's a lot of challenges around this whole after economic prosperity and all of that. And I feel like we're a bit far from reality as we speak. Yeah, because there's a lot of things that we need to get right before we start talking about developing country by country. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Luke, do you see Luke, this is to you. Do you see any implications that AFTA will cause to the governance and political system of Africa?
Yes, theoretically, yes. Just like you have in the Eurozone, right?
And excuse me, would that be for good or for bad?
Probably both, good and bad, probably both. And here's why I said that. I believe every country is unique in their own way. And so we don't have to throw away what makes us unique under the umbrella of unity and what have you. I actually think unity is best appreciated when diversity is acknowledged. You understand? That's my philosophy. And so whatever makes us unique, we've got to retain that. Cameroon is unique from Nigeria. Nigeria is unique from South Africa. So whatever makes us unique, yeah, let's keep that. But of course, when it comes to trading, there shouldn't be any barrier in trading. There shouldn't be any barrier in the exchange of services and goods across the African space, right? That's my view. Now, going back to governance, like, is that going to potentially change the way governance is in Africa? I think before you even answer that question, we need to acknowledge that there is a problem with leadership in Africa.
Very big
that is perhaps Africa's biggest problem of leadership. Like, honestly speaking, how many African countries can you mention you can't say you're proud of in terms of leadership?
Exactly.
How many? I can't, I mean, you have to actually sit down and think about this deeply. You understand? So before we talk about whether Africa can potentially affect governance in Africa, let's get our leadership right. First of all, many of these problems with tribalism, xenophobia, religious fundamentalism, more often than not, is actually leadership we have. Now, we live in a climate whereby leaders can. It's currently happening in Nigeria right now. You understand? So they play on ethnicity to score some cheap political points. So if the kind of leaders we have, if this is what they do, and people start killing each other, start fighting each other, I mean, that is not far-fetched, right? It's not far-fetched. And so we've got, for AFTA to work, we've got to get our leadership right on the African continent. We've got to get that right. Otherwise, it's just another policy. It's just another policy. Otherwise.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love that point. I love that insight. The next question is specifically for you, Zonda. And I understand you do a lot with blockchain development and cryptocurrencies. Since 2018, there are a lot of African nations, about 11 of them. They have actually adopted the use of state cryptocurrencies. I think Nigeria is one. I don't know, not in the case of Cameroon though. So I just want to find out, it's the introduction of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. How can it make the implementation of AFTA more efficient? Zonda?
Yeah, I think when looking at blockchain, cryptocurrency, that's like one of the bright sides of this development with AFTA and all that. It's really a bright side because Africa is the most unbanked, has the most unbanked population in the world. And then blockchain brings about decentralized finance. Decentralized means inclusive. And joining a network or being part of maybe a Bitcoin network or something like that, you don't need a bank account. You don't need to have maybe a certain status in the society. You don't need a certain amount of salary. You don't need to work in a certain kind of place and all of that. All you need is the phone, the smartphone, and internet connection with an electronic wallet. You're part of the network. So that creates a whole lot for people that were not into the financial system now to get into the financial system. Like, since being part of this blockchain and then crypto space and doing Bitcoin for about 2 years now, like like fully, I've been doing that for like 2 years. Every day I think and I believe that the guy who sat down and thought about Bitcoin, somewhere, somehow, there was Africa in his mind. You understand? There was Africa in his mind because when you look at the true use cases of that technology, Africa seems to be the best place where that technology is going to take off.
Yeah.
Yes. That I can argue with anybody on that. But now there's a problem. There's a problem because the few people in Africa that have been able to get into this space, gain knowledge, gain authority, and build some financial value for themselves, have turned the learning curve into a stack of multi-level marketing, which creates now another financial problem for people who don't understand what the technology is all about. So, like, for example, we have this guy in Cameroon who by 2017, he made a lot of money from Bitcoin. He created a company saying to people that that's a Bitcoin company. You know, a lot of people don't even know what Bitcoin is. First thought of Bitcoin, oh, that thing is complex. Oh, this thing, you know. So, and then people are greedy. So greediness and ignorance cannot stay in the same place. You see, when you tell somebody about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all of that, the first question they ask you is, how much money am I going to make from it? It's a very wrong question. That's the wrong question. If you want to get scammed, if you want to lose your money, ask that kind of question. Then there's somebody somewhere who is willing to tell you something that you need to hear, so you give them your money, then you lose the money because you don't understand what you're trying to do. You see? So this guy created this company. He did all of these things, take people's money, put it in this thing, and tell people that he's doing one Bitcoin stuff and all of that. Then after a while, he cannot do more payouts. So people lose money. Now, this creates now dirty waters in the industry because a lot of people want to get in this space, but they feel like Bitcoin in itself and all of these things are scams. It's really frustrating for people like me who is trying to promote it in the right way. Then somebody tells you that what you are doing is a scam because I've been scammed in Bitcoin. You begin to feel like, wow, this is really, it just creates a whole blind spot. You know, this thing is really, really valuable, but people don't care about it because other people have taken it to cause harm to people, you see. So I think blockchain is good, but the most important thing, like I'll keep stressing it out every time, is education. And that's what we're trying to do every day. We have this community called Blockchain for Everyone, where we help people to understand what blockchain is and all of that. And when you look at the true essence of what this technology is, the aspect of decentralization, the aspect of trust, the aspect of immutability, it makes it such that when you're doing trade, like let's say after maybe build a portal or a platform or a website where different African countries can trade. Let me just give an example. Let's say after build an e-commerce website for African countries to do business on a blockchain. You see, this is going to help them not to. It's going to help them not to feel that they always have to be there, maybe to follow people up for trust and all of that. You know, so the blockchain really does that. Let's say we go to this website, this e-commerce website, and then you and I want to do business on it and stuff like that. Then I don't know you, you don't know me. Blockchain creates trust. Because when we write something on a blockchain, even you who wrote it cannot delete it. You see, then it's public. Everybody can see. So if you and I, if you show me a car, that's another person, that creates trust and it's decentralized. So that car can leave from maybe Nigeria to Cameroon, still through blockchain process. So it makes it so that business is easy. Business is trustworthy, even with people you don't know. That is very important. Blockchain makes it so that you can do business with somebody you don't know because you are not trusting but the person, you're trusting but the code, the blockchain. Because human beings who are not trustworthy enough, especially people who are dealing with finance. So I feel like if AFCFTA can include blockchain into their policy, into their development, it will help them reach greater heights and achieve their goal even faster. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just one point. And how do you think they can do that specifically? How can they include blockchain into the implementation of AFCFTA? How can they include that specifically?
Yeah, I think you can include blockchain in supply chain. You can include blockchain, maybe goods that are leaving from one country to another. You can include blockchain in supply chain. Let's say, for example, you're buying goods and services. You're buying goods maybe from Nigeria to Ghana or something like that. Then there are people, you know, sometimes these goods reach Ghana. Maybe they're not the original goods. They're not maybe necessary from a manufacturer. Somebody might have same pack with them and all of that. But AFCFTA can create a platform where everybody who does intercontinental trade, right, has an app, right? This app has a barcode where it helps every manufacturing company use this barcode. When each product they produce, they put this barcode on it. So then that barcode now is on the blockchain. So let's say you're buying, I don't know, whatever thing that you're buying. Once that good reaches you, right? You can scan the barcode and know that this good is exactly from this manufacturer, and it's original because the manufacturer signed on it. You know, it eliminates all fake goods from the market, fake drugs, fake clothes, fake whatever thing. So it makes it so that not only are we going to do good business, but we're going to do business, quality business too. You see, they can also create, I don't know, an e-commerce website for African intercontinental trade on the blockchain, like I just said. It will help people to trade, to trust each other, even if they don't know them. Because I think one of the roadblocks that Luke talked about was this trust. People don't trust each other, but the blockchain can make you trust somebody because it's like a robot that mediates between two people. That if you pay money before the money reaches me, the goods have to reach me. You know, there's really this carefully designed process in the blockchain that makes it such that you can do trade with anybody in the world. And I think it's very important that after can look into this and then begin to see different aspects in the society, into their policy development, their economic policies, how to put blockchain as one of the biggest ways forward to development. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Zonda. Thank you very much. One thing I've noticed from your conversation, from your insight, is that blockchain is the easiest way to modernize Africa's fiscal and monetary policy system. That's the
exactly.
easiest. If we have to get past corruption, if we have to get past embezzlement, there has to be an implementation of blockchain technology.
Yeah.
Thank you very much on that.
Yeah.
Now, because of time constraint, I think we have to end the meeting here. I want to thank you for joining in. Thank you for your expertise. Thank you for your insights. Luke, I don't know if you're there and you can hear me. I want to thank you, Luke, for joining in. If you have any last
yes,
regards,
I can.
Yeah, if you have any last regards, you can throw in, please, before we end the meeting.
All right, if I could just add the points to the blockchain question. I can understand why most African governments are hostile to blockchain because it's decentralized, right?
Yeah, you can't control it.
Most African governments, exactly, they are power drunk. They want to feel in charge. And so, like, the thing is, cryptocurrency was banned in Nigeria last year. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was banned in Nigeria last year.
Yeah.
And for obvious reasons, anyways. And so I can understand if any government wants to feel in charge, wants to control everything, they will hate blockchain. And so again, goes back to my point about leadership. If we don't have the right leadership, we will be denied of the advantages of growth and in all sphere actually. In all sphere, blockchain should be a net positive to the African continent. And if you think about it also, do you know it's actually very difficult for you to send money from, say, Cameroon to Ghana?
Yeah,
of course.
It's very difficult. But if you want to send money from the UK to Cameroon, it's actually easier.
Very easy.
Like even in the aspect
from Cameroon to Ghana.
Even the aspect of currency exchange. Last time I remember when I was in Senegal, I found it hard to change the French African franc, that's our money, to West African franc. I mean, it was easier to get a dollar than West African franc. And I was like, is this really happening in Africa?
Yeah.
I was like, is this really happening in Africa? That's something we really have to work on. And I thank you all for your insights. I thank you for your participation. Thank you for the work you're doing, Zonda. Thank you for the work you're doing, Luke. And I hope to further future collaborations with you and work on some amazing projects together. Red Hand, you're waving your hand or something?
I enjoyed the discussions and deliberations, and it was a pleasure to be here. Thank you to the distinguished guest.
All right.
And to you as well, Justin, my brother.
Wow, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and may God bless you in everything you do. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.